If you had to start your agency today, what are 3 processes that you're like, these have to happen? Maybe more, maybe less, but let's just start with like 3 processes.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Well, starting from scratch, I'm going back 16 years. Like, could I have done differently that would have saved me a whole lot of time? That would be, don't try to do it alone. Okay. You want to scale your business. You're starting out and you want to grow your business. You need a good team of people to help you.
On today's episode, Courtney and I sit down with elite agency owner Brooke Brollo. She's been in the business for 16 years. She's going to share how she is driving quotes from social media. She's going to give you that process. And then she's also going to talk about accountability processes that she has specifically with her team and her new hires over the first 90 days of being with her agency. With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver. And today we have elite agent Brooke Brollo. Brooke, how are you today?
What's up, guys? I am amazing. How are you guys?
Oh my God, we are so
We're
fired
so
up.
freaking pumped. I've been excited for this episode. I've been excited to connect and chat.
I know. I'm glad it's finally happening.
It's happening. It's happening.
Everything's happening.
So, Brooke, you've been doing this now for 17 years. You're one of the best agents in your company. I've followed you for a long time. I'm a big fan. You do a tremendous job. And so I want to jump right into social media, actually. And because I know this is something that you crush it at, and I know that you help others, and you're very positive in the way that, hey, even if you've never done this before, it's never too late. So I'd love to just jump into social media around maybe if somebody was looking to get started, what advice would you give them?
Yeah. So that's a big thing. I have people ask me all of the time. They're like, what's going on with your social? Because I went from like just being a stalker, I just post and like, or I wouldn't post, but I just like stuff and to really like posting. I would just consume, but I didn't create anything. And I was like, but I'm here all the time. I'm like, I need to be in this space because this is the digital world is the future and my business needs to be here. Right. And so I was like, I just got to get over I'm too old. I have 16 years of being in a business, that I did marketing a whole nother way. Like this is the future. And with any business, you have to evolve, right? You got to like roll with the punches and get out there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take time and invest in myself, invest in the education around it, follow some big people, see what they're doing, like what relates to me, and then just put myself out there like you would with any other thing and put myself out there and see where it goes. And it's been about a 1.5 year journey and it is so awesome and I love it. And not only is it like the fun side of insurance because insurance is not fun. We know that. It's not that fun, right? Social media makes it so fun. So it's given me that fun and that fire back. So I encourage everybody to do it and get out there and just show who you are. Because people do business with people they, know, like, and trust. And I want people to know me, all the sides of me. If you don't like me, I'm not your person, but you may love it. And you may want to do business with me. Okay, so I think it's super important.
This needs to be a tiny tambourine moment. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay.
I need one of those.
You do need a tambourine. I absolutely love what you said there. And I want to dive into, you started bringing up 2 words. And we do this a lot. A story will pop up when we're doing something new or we're going into the unknown. We start putting a 2 in front of things. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. I'm too, or I'm not enough. So yeah. I'm curious, you've been doing this a 1.5 years. Do those words, do those negative beliefs still pop up?
Well, I mean, sure. Let's be real. Like, it's one of those things, am I going to run out of content? What am I going to say? Or are they going to get tired of seeing me in their feed? So sure. But when something works, you don't stop doing it, right? So like I said, I invested in myself and I was like, okay, I'm going to take 30 days and I'm going to do this. And I started getting business and I started getting likes and I started getting follows and not just from, agents, but for customers that were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Yeah, not sold my house, but I have a new house, and now I'm Airbnb the other house,
Yeah.
and they still had it as a homeowner, so they were learning. So I was bringing value out there. So like I use it specifically now, because first it was like I'm just going to get out there, promote myself and my business, and let you know me, and if you want to be here. But now it's more like, okay, now I have a process for it, because I'm a process girl. I'm going to use it for retention, growth, and connection. And so that's that's how I use it.
I'm so glad we're talking about this topic, because we started back in 2014. Is I came home one day and I'm like, Gary V thinks.
Did you say 2013?
2014. So 2014, Gary V. I saw something on the internet.
I love him.
He's the best.
He's the freaking
my gosh.
best. But he's
Can I just say this real quick? I commented on one of his posts. It has like 170 likes. I was like, and then he commented back, and I was like, I've made it.
Yeah.
I've made it. Gary V posted back, and it says, thanks, B. I was like, he even calls me B. We're besties.
We're best. We have nicknames. Gary V.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're great.
I love it. But he was like, you need to go live. And so I come home one day. I'm like, I think we need to go live. So we went live, and it was absolutely terrible. But we continued to go live. We continued our little journey on social media. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you said something important there. Like, what I've found in the last decade of doing this is some years your engagement is awesome, and then there's other times where the engagement just drops. And so the one thing that you hit on was consistency. Like, it works, and now it may not work the way you want it immediately, but eventually with time and consistency, it does work. And I'll go on a little rant right here. Your post as an insurance professional should be geared towards your client, your ideal customer, not for engagement of other insurance agents if you're trying to gear business off of it, unless you just like, hey, I'm really smart, I'm great at what I do, I want other business professionals to know that. So that's just a little rant, because I see that a lot in our industry, where you post something and you get tons of engagement, and when I look at their engagement, it's like insurance agent, insurance agent, insurance agent, insurance agent. It's like, well, that's cool, but that's not going to drive business.
Right. Well, the thing is like, we're all busy. Right? I don't need to add another thing to my plate. So, but it works for me. So I put myself out there, and the feedback that I'm getting, sure, there's some agents that follow me, because I think they're like, oh, okay, well, I want to get into this. Like, how do I mimic that? I'm like, sure, copy whatever. But I do it for, like you said, the ideal customer. I'm bringing value, positioning myself as the expert. I'm giving them information they might not know. So they can be like, well, my agent didn't tell me that. And then when it's time to get insurance, who they're thinking about? Me. They're thinking of me. So
okay.
I think there's also something that we don't talk about a lot when it comes to social media, because a lot of times we're like trying to put it out here of we're using it for branding, we're marketing, and we're trying to get more awareness. But there's a sneaky side effect that happens with social media that's for the positive. Number one, it helps reinforce that belief of consistency. So once you're constantly posting, you're reinforcing this loop of I can do something consistently, which a lot of people have a negative belief around, that they keep dropping the ball, or they're not consistent, because in every aspect of their life, usually life happens and we drop the ball, right? Sure. So it reinforces that consistency. But not only that, it makes you more confident about being able to pitch and talk about what you do in real life. If you are constantly posting about who you are, what you do, what value you bring on the internet, when it comes time and you're at a B&I meeting, or you're at coffee, or you're just out at the grocery store and somebody says, hey, what do you do for a living? You've had some reps there. So I think a lot of the times we're looking at, okay, how do I bring more people in? But also, what does it do for you? Because there's a lot of really positive things that come from showing up and putting yourself out there consistently. So I don't want that to be skipped over. I want to make sure that it's like, oh, yeah. And you did something. You did a 30-day challenge. So I would love to hear, what was the platform that you did, and what was your mindset going into that? Because I think that is, if anyone is listening right now, if you take nothing else away, which we're going to have tons of stuff that we talk about with Brooke, if you're wondering what my next action step is, I would say do Brooke's 30-day challenge. I think that sounds fantastic. This is now your challenge, by the way. You need to trademark this. So I would love to know, what did that look like for you in those 30 days? Like, where did you show up? What kind of posts were you making? What did that look like?
Sure. Well, first, I was like, I don't really know, other than just being on social media and posting about my family and every now and then tagging my business and call us. Like, I was like, I'm really not sure what to do, nor do I like know kind of the technical sides and what works and what doesn't. Cause I really wanted to show up when I show and like make a splash, right? Like I wanted it to be seen. So I was like, who do I know that's better than me? Like, I'm a big believer in like, put yourself in the rooms with the people that are smarter than you. You're going to learn so much, right? So I was like, who do I know that is in this space and is crushing it? And so, of course, Christina Shaw, Nick Saka. So I love them. And I was like, and Kevin Spann, Jessica Link, they do a really good job. So I started following them. I started listening. I started asking questions. I took Christina Shaw's boot camp. She has a boot camp a couple times a year, and it really gives you the little foundational type thing. So I was like, okay, now I've got an understanding of this. Now I need to feed into that more. So then I did my own research, YouTube, all of these things. I started following creators, how to make it. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to do it. What am I going to talk about? And so I was like, what does my audience want to hear? What do I want to give them? What's my ideal customer that I want to get out of it? So I made content around that. Not for me, not to showcase anything. Like, again, I'm busy. I want to do this like I treat any other lead source and go in and manage it and go after the clients that I wanted and target those people with specific messages. So that's how
Were you on Facebook, Instagram? What platform?
Facebook and Instagram are the two biggest.
Okay.
TikTok is more for fun for me. I'll do LinkedIn, but you really most people are in their phones all the time, right?
Yep.
So, and if you're like, I don't have time, you do look at your phone. It'll tell you how many hours you're on the phone or on your social media. And then you'll say, okay, I do have time to do this the right way. And then I literally go, okay, make the damn video. And it took me like 2 hours to do the first one. And I was like, this is never going to work. Yep. I was like, I don't have this time. But it was because I was trying to be a perfectionist. So I was like, okay, what have I learned in all of this? Just be you. Be you, and you'll find your tribe, and your tribe will find you. And that's what I did. I was like, if I mess up, I will. I go on. That's life. Life's messy. So, I just started trying to show up authentically. And then, it's, it seems to be panning out okay.
It is the wildest thing, because when you think you'd show up and you're like, all right, I'm going to get it done. You feel like a news anchor and you're like, okay, reporting live from Channel 5. And then the thing that people remember.
What is this voice? I've never used this voice before. What is happening?
I know. You get on there and you're like, hello, everyone. And you're like, whoa, wait, what's happening here? And then when you mess up or you say a word that doesn't even exist, that's the thing that people gravitate towards, because we can't relate to perfect, but we can relate to real. And so many times on social media, we think I have to be perfect.
Yep.
And that's actually not what grabs people. So I love that you bring that up. We're the same way. I mean, in the beginning, it would take hours to do like a 10-second story. And we're like, oh my God.
Well, think about the podcast. How many times we'd record something, start over, record something, start over, record. And it's like, this is stupid. We don't edit anything anymore. Like, you get the weavers. Like, if it mess up, who cares? Like, it's part of life. Because it's just, but that's what people want, because
it shows you're relatable.
Shit,
yeah.
Relatable. They're like, oh, they look so like great, and the iceberg. Oh, everything is great. No, we mess up. Like, we fall on our face, we get back up, we laugh about it, move on. Had something totally flop. So what? Won't do that again. Find your wins.
Yep. So, and you said something right there that's super important, because I think sometimes we can tell ourselves the story of we don't have time. And that's in every aspect of a lot of life. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to create something. So on social media, you're either a creator or a consumer, and you have to decide what you're going to be. And so an easy rule that Courtney always says is, like, before you are a consumer, just create something real fast, whether it's 30 seconds, 2 minutes, post it. All of us, now you've created something, you feel productive, you feel like you won, and then you can go consume all the information you want if that's your thing. So I love that you said something to that nature.
Why wouldn't you? Theo Vaughn has like the best clips on the planet right now on social media. Go get out there and consume those. Just create a little something before you do that.
Yeah, and like, I consume I do consume a lot still, but I have that like mindset of like, what's going to give me inspiration, So I do a ton of consuming for like inspiration, and then you find, oh my gosh, I love that, but I could make it like this.
Yeah.
And then it makes it, how it sounds like Brooke. It sounds like me.
So out of curiosity, Brooke, if somebody needed a process, because I do know you love processes, if somebody was looking to start on social media with a simple process, is there a process you can share that you've done or that you've helped others with that you've seen productivity through?
Yeah, I mean, just to me, I think it's you start small, write out some bullets of things that you want to talk about, that you want people to hear, that you want people to know about you. Because if you're scared, I hear people all the time because I do have Kate, my friend Casey and I, we have a little side gig called Let's Get Social, and we help agents like get past that like fear. And I'm like, okay, well, just start with something about yourself. Everybody loves me some me, right? You know yourself better than anyone. Let people know who you are, like what you're comfortable with sharing. So start small there. And then talk about your business. Highlight your team. Because if you're like, I'm really scared to like get in the weeds on like coverage. What if I say something wrong? What if there's like a debate in the comments? I was like, well, that's never, keep it really high level, and then if you want to get granular with the customer, do that on the phone. Like you want them to DM. You want to leave some stuff to the imagination. You don't want to get too and give it all away. Like you want them to call you and like, hey, what were you saying about so and so? And that kind of helps people with their fears of like, I'm going to say the wrong thing on here or get into some crazy debate or whatever. But again, start small. Talk about yourself. Talk about your team, your agency. Celebrate your wins. People want to do business with people are winning. Like showcase when you have someone. You save someone a lot of money. I saved this person, $300 a month. I did a funny meme about that. I wasn't even in it. And it was like Pedro Pascal, his face, and like, this is the face we make when we save someone $300 from State Farm. It got tons and tons of views and likes, and people with State Farm were calling going, I'm with State Farm. I'm like, cool, this works. So.
Hell yes.
I mean, he's a great meme to use.
I love him.
Big
He's one of
fan.
my favorites.
Oh yeah, that is hilarious. Okay, so we talked about processes and systems. So we're talking about Pedro Pascal. I want to get into. We chatted a little bit before about being neurodivergent, ADD, ADHD, and how we can use it as a superpower. And I hear a lot of agents and producers talking about they're clinging to the processes and systems. I would love for you to share. You've been in this business for 16, almost 17 years. If you had to start your agency today, what are 3 processes that you're like, these have to happen? Maybe more, maybe less, but let's just start with like 3 processes.
That's a big one. Well, starting from scratch, I'm going back 16 years. Like, what could I have done differently that would have saved me a whole lot of time? That would be, don't try to do it alone. Okay. You want to scale your business. You're starting out and you want to grow your business. You need a good team of people to help you. Yes, you could probably do it on your own, but it's a lonely road and it's very hard and you're going to burn out. Like you got to let go of some you got to give some away and like let people figure it out and help you scale. That would be one thing. Investing. I'm a huge person in investing in yourself, So you've got to invest yourself. How do you do that? Find people that want you to succeed, that are 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of you, that know and that can help you find a shortcut, right? And then just have mentors, coaches, and make sure that you're hanging out with people that want to, because I think that's a big one. When I started doing really well, I felt like some people weren't that happy that I was doing well. I was like, maybe I need to analyze like who I'm hanging around. So like, make sure you're with people that bring you up and bring value to your life instead of bring you down and tear you down. Those are, you need those things. You need that support when you're starting a business. So, and you can find it. You can find your people. So,
yeah.
Those were the biggest things for me.
Okay. So don't do it alone. I love this one. Let's go back to number 1.
Yeah.
So how are you finding good people? Because I'm sure throughout the years, at least I know I was terrible at recruiting when we very first started our business. I was terrible at a lot of shit. I was a terrible leader. I was a terrible business owner, terrible manager, but
because you'd never done it before.
Never done it before. I was a 26-year-old kid that let's just, I know how to sell. Let's
sell. Right. And that's what we get into. You're like, oh, I'm selling. And you're like, but now I've got to,
now you're running a business.
I've got to run a business and do all these things. Exactly.
Yeah. Now luckily I had you as a partner though along the way, because the 2 of us working together made things easier. And so I want to Anyways, I don't want to cut you
Well,
off. What were you going to say?
Thank you. This is marriage.
You're like, shh, my turn to talk.
It's my turn. No, I want to bring this up because I see this a lot, this trend about being the CEO. And there's this big push of like, be the CEO of your business. And I want to remind you that the C in CEO is not for chief, it is for challenges. Like your main role when you sit in that seat is to put out fires. Brooke, we were talking about that when we hit
Right.
record. Like there's always going to be fires. So I love that you bring that up and you're like, I was terrible at it, because we all are. When we're starting something new, we're always going to be bad at it. So carry on. I just want to put that out there. Like challenges don't go away. You just become more capable at handling them.
Well, and to his point, he was like, you can't do it alone. Like, talk about that. Well, I made a lot of mistakes. I hired a lot of people that said they would do X, Y, Z, and they'd get in the seat and then they didn't. I'm like, but you said, I believed you, right? But it was also on me because I didn't hold them accountable. I was like, okay, cool, go do it. I'm going to go over here and do this thing. And then I was like, wait, that didn't happen. Why didn't you make those calls? Why didn't you do my sales process? Because I wasn't checking up on it, right? So like now I'm like, okay, it's a very quick turnaround in my age. When we hire someone, we don't always hit home runs, right? Because everyone's going to be their best self on that interview. But then we're like, okay, you got 90 days, and we're going to be on top of you, watching. Are you doing the things you need to be doing? We're going to be coaching you. We're going to give you feedback. And now, let's role play it. How did that? And we know very quickly, it's going to work or not. And then before that 90-day mark, we're like, okay, on to let's find our new person, because this isn't working out. Or you have that one that's like, yes, they really do want to be held accountable. They really are okay with metrics. They really do want to help you grow, and they want to grow, and they want to do all the things that they said in the interview that they want to do. But you have to be the person that's going to follow up and be accountable, because accountability is a two-way street, right? Yep. You can't expect them to do something if you're not going to give that back to them.
Amen. Okay. Let's dive into this, because this is a great topic. So the first 90 days of employment, is this like first of all, let's just start off from the very beginning. When you hire somebody, or you basically, hey, you have 90 days to prove yourself, and I have 90 days to make a decision whether you're a great fit for this culture. Is it like a 90-day agreement that you've got with a brand new hire? Is that kind of how you start that relationship?
Yeah, so we let them know, hey, we have a 90-day ramp-up period, okay? And the first 30, and it is not like a hard stop, because people learn at different levels. Some people are faster, but after 90 days, I gave you 3 months, right? I need to see progress. We have checkpoints, and I need to see progress. Are you, what's your mindset? My biggest thing is effort and attitude. Huge. If you're not giving me 100% effort and you're not coming in with a positive attitude, then that one thing alone, you could be an amazing producer, but if you don't have, if you're bringing the team down, you're a cancer, you got to go. I've fired my top producer before. So we talk about that. We're giving you milestones, but we want to we see growth. We want, progress, not perfection. We see those growths. You hit your milestones. You hit the items that you need to be hitting if you're a salesperson, or the accountability that we have for our service team for reviews and cross sales to the team and things like that. If we see progress, you're good, right? But at 90 days, you're like everyone else, and you're held to our production minimum requirements to keep your job.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, that's our 90-day agreement.
I love that.
I do too, because we're talking about processes and systems. You have two right there. You have a hiring process and you have an accountability process. So let's say that they get through that 90-day period and they're not hitting your expectations. What's the process there?
Well, normally it happens before the 90-day, right? Because at 45, 60, we're seeing it, and then you can tell they're either going to pedal to the metal, because we have conversations like, hey, you're not exactly where I would like you to be right now, but let's gear up and let's try this. And if you'll either see a push, or you will see them totally pull back and make every excuse in the world as to, well, these are bad leads, or I did that, or I was sick, or I needed to be out. It's because there won't be any okay, I'm going to do what it takes to get it better, right? And so then you can kind of go, you know what, I think we need to part ways right now. a lot of the times they fire themselves and they just go, I can't do this. And you're like, okay, well, you saved me you saved me having to do that. But if we get all the way to 90 days, for the most part, if at the end of 90 days, you're still on my team, you're still on my team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the checkpoint after the 90 days? How often are we following up with?
So
your team?
then,
What does that
right.
look like?
So you have monthly minimums. So my team, if you're a salesperson, you have items that you have to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't make those items, like we have 3 times in a 12-month period, you don't work for me. 2 months back to back, job in jeopardy. So it's very, but we're on it. Again, accountability. I want you to know where you are. I want you to know your numbers. We have where you can see every day. We'll look at your quotes. We look at your talk time. We look at your outbound calls, your inbound calls, all the different, are you being diverse with all the different lead sources because you want to turn on all your faucets to get the most? Are you following our process? So again, my ADD brain, I have a lot. I throw a lot at them. So yeah.
No, we used to say the same thing in the first 90 days was the attitude, effort, but we added one with activities. Like, we're going to measure you based off of your attitude, effort, and activities. And that was always, and we did the same thing. Like, this is a 90-day temp period. Like, number one, we got to figure out if you even like this. And number two, we got to figure out if you're a good fit. So I absolutely love that. I think the first 90 days of anybody's profession, specifically in sales and insurance, is by far the most important time period in their career. They're going to figure out, do I like this? Do I not like this? And if you've got the right processes in place, the right training in place, the right accountability, you're also going to see 45, 60 days in, this is a good fit, this is not a good fit.
Right.
Are you still having those conversations, or do you have somebody on your team that's having those?
Yep.
So I'm still involved, but not as much as I was. I do have a sales manager, a service manager, and an operations manager. However, I am a part of majority of my weekly meetings. I'm not putting them on, but I'm in the background and I'm giving my 2 cents and I'm giving my feedback and this and that. We'll have weekly one-to-ones with the team too, if it's something I feel like I need to be on or have some FaceTime, because I am running my business and I am doing a million things, but these are my people and I want them to know that I am still there for them. I do have a person that's there for them, 24/7, my sales manager, my service manager, like they can go to, and if they're out, like I'm there. But I want them to know they can always come to me and they can always, talk to me. And I still make a point to be a part of their lives, and be in front of them several times during the week. Because I don't want them to, they bought into this business and I bought into them, and I want that to stay, to stay the course.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And it ends. I didn't go.
So this is probably a real rando question, but if they're the ones doing the managing, the accountability meetings, have you given them permission to make the firing decision as well, or is that still coming back on you?
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. I trust them 100%. And like I said, we have Manager Monday. So, I got a process for everything, right? So we have a download of the big rocks and stuff like that. And
Yep.
I know them. I trust them. I'm a big higher up, not out. Like, my people I'm like, where do you want to go within this agency? Like, what growth do you want? You want to be a manager? Well, I'll put these milestones in front of you. And so all of my managers started at the bottom and have worked their way up. So I trust them. And
Fantastic.
And again, and then the accountability piece is still there because I got to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I got to make sure that they're doing the thing. And I have to show up for them like they show up for my team, right? So.
Yep.
Okay, I love this because if I'm an agent that's 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, I just took an exhale. I took a deep breath of like, thank you. Because when I hear you say, okay, I have a service lead, I have a sales lead, and I have an ops lead, all of these managers, then I'm like, okay, this does get to where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. When did that happen for you? Was it a certain book size or was it a certain team size?
That's the question, right? Everyone wants to know, when is the optimal time to do that? I don't remember. I don't think it was a specific book size. I was very hands-on. I think people come in and I think it's the mindset of the agent. What do you want to be? How big do you want to scale? Like, are you looking at this as a business, or you want to be, just a person who, manages everyone and you just want to, sit on a small book and grow? Whatever. But for me, I was like, I knew like I was burning the candle at both ends, and I felt like I physically could not, and it probably was like 7 million. I don't know. I had two. I take that back. That came about that 7 million mark when I purchased a second location, and I was trying to be in two places at once. And I was like, nope, not for me. Then I got 3 locations, and I was like, why did I do this again? And so stretch, and I'm like, I need people help me, So when you feel like you're, I don't think there's a specific number. I think it's going to be tailored to the individual person, and what they want to get out of it and how fast they want to scale.
You're talking about a very common trigger, though, that we found in working with agents. Like the more that agents have went on to become more that CEO, multiple locations, I just know this from our business with Weaver Sales Academy. A lot of times that's when they're contacting us to be like, we need help with consistent training, with being able to train people in both offices, both locations the same way every single time. And we need a done for you product. And so you're hitting, I think, the trigger 100%, unless somebody typically comes in with maybe money and wants that CEO role from the very beginning. Because a lot of times with a smaller book, it's going to cost money if you try to run that CEO role from the very beginning, where you're hiring your leadership team. And so we took a very similar path where we were very hands-on, almost got burnt out, and it's like, okay, we got to let go of this control monster, baby. Like it's holding us back.
It's hard
from
for
success.
us, like type A personalities. It's hard.
Hell yes.
Oh my God. Like
it creeps up all the time on me. I'm like, get out of here, man.
Get back. Okay, so real quick before we wrap, you said you have Manager Monday. Is there any other day that has a theme?
Ooh.
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, again, my processes have a theme. My, like on certain days, on certain leads that we follow and stuff like that. But Manager Mondays, Win Back Wednesdays, we have that. Tip Tuesdays, I do a lot of the same process and strategy with my content. Because if you do social media, you're like, what the hell am I talking about this week, right? But if you have a plan of action, like Motivation Monday, it's Monday. We need Mindset Monday, Motivation. Tip Tuesday, Win Wednesday. Thursday's kind of free for, what do I want to do? Community, Fun Fridays or Referral Fridays. And I kind of use that same process in my business, and like Fridays for closers and referrals.
Yes.
And all the
Money Friday, baby.
Woo!
Let's go.
I'm like, stand up. I tell everybody, I'm like, beast mode, stand up out of your chair. And like, what's the wolf?
The power position. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The power pose. Like, it works. Like, if you get that confidence. Yeah.
Fridays are great days. Fridays, everybody's excited, especially when you're in.
You just got paid, baby.
When you're in personal line sales, like Auto Fire Life, the folks that you're talking to every single day. What's Friday? Friday is payday. Friday is the weekend day, baby. Like, people are in good moods. They're ready to be like, let's check it off the list, get it going. Let's go, baby. It's time to party.
Yes. And we do a fun promo called 4x4 because it's not always about money, right? Sometimes you just want to get the hell out of the office early. You get 4 items by 4 o'clock. Bye. So, and that's for all the producers. We're like, if the managers have to stay, that's for my service team. Like, if you hit all your goal, like certain tiers, bye. We'll handle it.
I love that.
Oh, I do too.
We used to do
4 by
something.
4. I like
So we
that.
did something a little different. We had it life insurance focused back in the day, but it was if they wrote 3 life by Friday, they got a half a day. If they wrote 5 life, then they get the whole day Friday off. Or whenever they get that 5th life policy on Friday, they got to leave. So very similar. I think teams are extremely motivated by little things like that because people like time, flexibility, freedom. Let's start the weekend early. Let's go.
Yeah, it's not. You don't always have to throw money at a problem.
No, shit, no.
No. Well, and think about like your service team. They're not typically super aggressive, money motivated, right? They're caregivers. They, so they want time off with their family. So I incorporate that into their like cross sales. They have, just like my sales team, they have minimums they have to meet. They have daily expectations. And so if they have, I can't remember the number exactly, don't hold me to this, but let's say they have 20 referrals, well then they get, half day of PTO. They get 30 referrals over to the sales team, they get a full day so that they keep trying to get to that next, like I need that day off. Maybe they are out of PTO or they're like planning a vacation. They are hustling for it. Where my salespeople are hustling for the money in that next tier, they're hustling for like time off to go be with my family. So,
Okay, so you said 20 referrals is a half day and 30 referrals is a full day on your for the service
and
side.
it may be 25 and 30, but
Either way.
Either way,
Either
it's
way.
referrals. It's
yeah,
referral
and they
day.
get money too. They get tiering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Brooke,
love
this
it.
is awesome. And
Well, I want them doing, I don't want them trying to close business, right? I want them to find the opportunity and get it to my closers,
Yep.
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. And you're talking to people's why, what's important to them, money motivated, freedom, whatever it is, and then you're incentivizing. So I love that. So Brooke, to be respectful of your time, because I feel like we could
do this all
continue
day.
this
I know,
all
right?
I feel like we need our friendship bracelets. I think we need a whole like women in business moment. Sorry, Michael, get out.
That's all right. That's all right.
This has been so much
Hey,
fun.
I'll have to have you on Fearless and Focused. Courtney.
Please, I
No
am
offense,
in.
Michael, but it's kind of women based.
That's
I
okay.
love it. I
That's
am
all right.
in. Sign me up.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
About it.
So B, because I feel like we're friends now. All right,
yeah.
B. So if somebody
Yeah.
wanted to work with you, follow you, connect with you, learn from you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so again, you can find me on all the socials. I have it as my name, Brooke Brollo, Brolo. People always make it harder than it is, but it's not. It's like Rolo with a B in the front. Everybody knows Rolo candy, right?
Yeah.
You can email me, brookebrollo@allstate.com. Call me, text me. Like all my information's out there. I coach with Craig Wiggins Coaching. I do Let's Get Social to help with people with social media. So if you've got a need, I can at least give you some advice, and direct you in the right place. I love helping agents, and I wish that I would have had people that, when I started my scratch journey, that, someone was there to help me and guide me into the place. And I really try to give that back to the community. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Love it.
Amen. All right. Brooke, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. For those of you who are listening right now, whether it is the Apple podcast, you're watching us and listening on Spotify or YouTube, look, we appreciate you very much. We love you. This is some of our favorite parts of the week, and we love these conversations. So just wanted to say thank you so much for your support. As always, time and attention are by far the most important assets that we have, and we appreciate you spending time with us today on The Buzz. Go out, make it great. Brooke, thanks again.
Thank you guys so much for having me.